We are live right now, you all. I am also I'm on internet. I'm on Instagram, um, Facebook. Who else? I am also on Periscope and YouTube, and we will be coming back with a very special guest. Let me play like my little countdown, y'all. I'm gonna see how this thing works. Uh, we got 5 minutes, so gonna start early, y'all. Oh yeah. What's happening, you all? What's up, you all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we always motivate the blind and stimulate your mind and welcome all kind. That's right. My name is Anthony. I have a very special guest this evening, and we're gonna do the damn thing. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna be talking about traveling with my guide dog in other countries. The music that you hear in the background has been provided by my man King OJ. If y'all looking for music to back you all up, if y'all looking for any type of music to put in your videos, this is the man to do so. So with that being said, man, I am happy to be here, man, with the this guy has always been, every time I post, he's always been um posting and things like that. So that I definitely appreciate that, man. I appreciate the love and what have you that I've been getting. So with that being said, he's very busy. He has some places to go. He ain't got time to be kicking it with me. So I'm about to run this thing right about now. Welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. Today's topic: traveling with my guide dog. We have a trainer background in other countries. Please subscribe. Continue to hit the notification bell. Like, dislike if you don't like it, whatever. I ain't tripping. Comment, but most of all, please share. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring on the man who I've been trying to hook up for a long time. You probably think I was BSing. Demetrius, what's happening with you, baby?
Can't call, man. What's going on with it, man?
Man, I can't call it. Welcome to the Shizzo.
Appreciate it, man. Very much appreciation, man. Very much honored to be on the show. Talk about this, and I've been seeing you doing, all these wonderful shows, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna hit him up see if I can be on one of them, man, because you've been doing such a good job. So I just want to, tip my hat off to you.
Okay, well, the check is in the mail, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. uh, you've had an awakening experience somewhat, for a person who's visually impaired and traveling with your guide dog. Before we get into the story, talk about the awakening that you had over in other countries. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and where you're from, and what's your visual acuity, if I may, because you can see a little bit.
No, yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm originally from New Orleans, but my family they're originally from Greece. So I'm 28, and right now I'm in Baton Rouge, just visiting some friends. So I'm doing right now, just because we're in the phase of kind of, man, you got COVID, man. So and things ain't really opened up fully. So I'm just kind of until everything kind of gets back to normal. I'm just catching up with folks until everything gets back to normal, so I can get back to school. Cause originally I was in school for hospitality, specializing in hotel and restaurant management, but due to COVID, that didn't change. So um, just kind of, yeah, that's a little bit with that.
Okay. And about your
Oh
vision.
yeah, my vision. Yeah, so I was diagnosed. Have a glaucoma, and I'm considered legally blind on paper. I can see about like 5, 6 feet in front of me, but some days is better than others. Um, that's why I use a guide dog, which is she's down here on the ground. She's just kind of chilling.
Mm.
If I don't use her, like if she has a vet appointment or she's not really feeling well, then I use my cane because I don't believe that one way is better than the other way. I think you have to know how to utilize both effectively and efficiently.
And that was. I'm glad you answered that because that was going to be my next question in terms of which you had the opportunity to use both methods of transportation, and you answered in terms of the cane and dog guide dog are both efficient for you. So that's I mean I appreciate because that was back in the day. I did had a little what do you think type question
Yeah.
with different people. So
hmm
so about your guide dog. Tell us about how long have you had it? What process you had to go through in order to get it? Where did you go to get it? And we'll move on from there.
So I got the dog. It started 2013. I put an application earlier, like early in the year, like January. It's usually about 9 month process. It's like 9 months to wait between the application and to the time where you go get a dog. So I was living in Baton Rouge, right off of College Drive over that Fairway View. I'm sure you probably know where
Yeah,
that's
my
at, by,
mom,
by the Walmart.
right? My mom used to work at the Fairway View Club before it burned down. Go ahead.
Oh wow,
Hmm.
okay, that's what's up, man. Yeah, so I used to, I stayed over there, and so um, it just so happened, I submitted all my stuff, and I got a phone call. It was right on my birthday, November of 2013, and I got a phone call, and they said that they had an opening um, for a class for the November session. It was gonna be 2 weeks, and they were gonna pay for me to go to Oregon. And I was like, man, I'll take it because if it wasn't that class, I have to probably wait till the summer of 14, so it'll have to be a few more months. So I just took this class, and I went up there for 2 weeks. I got back like December 7th, and I went there like the 23rd, 22nd, somewhere around there. I knew I was there like during Thanksgiving, and I got matched up with Marjorie. I chose Guide Dogs for the Blind because they put out good, like every school puts out good dogs, but GDB, to me, in my personal opinion,
Hmm.
is the exception because they give you veterinary financial assistance.
Hmm.
So every year I get $250 for her annual visit. It's all her shots and stuff. And if I need to take her to the vet, I just call them up and they give me an authorization, and the vet bills the school, and then the school pays the vet. Another good thing about the school, recently, my dog got attacked by a pit bull.
Oh wow.
Yep. I was at my brother's partner's house, at his boyfriend's house, and they had a pit bull over there. And my dog, she was just chilling. I was holding on the leash. She was laying down, and the pit bull comes and sniffs her and growls at her. And the next thing I know, my dog gets up because that's what their instinct is, to get up and move out of the way because they're not used to all that craziness,
Right, right, right.
And when she got up, the dog got in her face. Then I got up from the couch, and I was using the leash as like a little kind of guide thing to kind of move her so I can get in the gap.
Mm.
And I was pushing the dog off with my hand, the pit bull, and they kept on coming back, and I kept pushing it away. And after the boyfriend got the dog and they put it away, and my dog jumped on the couch, and she never jumped on the couch, but she jumped on the couch because she was so stressed out because she just got attacked,
Mm. Uh-huh.
and she the dog bit her ear. She had to go in and get surgery, $500,
Wow.
and
Gosh.
expensive.
Yeah, I'm quite sure.
It was on the weekend, so of course you already know the vet, they gonna charge the after hours fee,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
you know how it go. I don't really agree with the after hours fee, but whatever. I called my school, and this particular vet would not do the billing thing. They would not bill the school. They wanted the money up front. So I talked to my school, and they said that they would talk to the vet, and they had that they would give them the credit card. So the school used their credit card to pay for the vet bill because my dog had to have like 3 stitches.
Oh wow. Well, sorry for that, man.
Yeah, man.
So like with the actual training, you said
Hmm.
it's a 9 month period, or how long does it take to actually to get acclimated with the dog of your choice? And then
So once you go into the school, it's 2 weeks of training, but it takes you 9 months for the process, like before you get accepted. So it's really about like 2 weeks that you have to go out there for training. You go out there for 2 weeks, and you kind of learn the whole ins and outs of, um, like how to, not I don't want to say how to walk, but all the commands,
right, right, right,
you
right.
know the the feeding schedule, the whole relieving schedule, how to travel with them, the kind of do's and don'ts. They, you kind of get acclimated to that. You're there for 2 weeks, and then you go home. And what I would say, the first 6 months to a year are very critical when you go home because you have to keep up with the training, and it's the bond, and y'all have to continue forming that bond.
Right.
So that's kind of like that.
Now, speaking of you mentioned about the traveling part.
Hmm. Hmm.
Are there, first of all, tell us, and I'm quite sure you do know of any guidelines that are set up to allow guide dogs in various places and areas and traveling in certain vehicles and all that stuff like that.
So my guide dog has the right to go anywhere with me. There's two exceptions. One's in the intensive care unit in a hospital. One's like in an operating room in a hospital. So something along those lines. I might not be correct on the actual language because our laws are written so legalistically, but there's two places, and that's it. But everywhere else, it's fair game. So 98%, I can take her anywhere. I can take her on the plane, train, even Uber and Lyfts. They're not exempted from this particular rule because even though it is a private car, they're still providing, the key word here is a public service. So they're still providing a public service, and allergies and religious objections are not grounds to refuse somebody with a service animal.
Okay. Now that's in the United States, or that's abroad.
Um, that's here in the United States. When you look at abroad, um, like in Europe, the allergy part, you have to have a medical exemption certificate from a medical professional, but you have to carry that with you at all times because you can't transport that individual.
Mhm.
You have to show the certificate to actually prove, like the reason. Um, I have kind of like mixed feelings on that, because sometimes, it becomes a thing of, oh, is that really the actual piece of paper that you're pulling out, or are you just pulling out a piece of paper just to get away with it? Does that make sense?
Right. It does make sense. Definitely. Now, tell us about the experiences that you've had traveling with your guide dog in other countries and what have you.
So I've traveled. I had the opportunity to travel to Greece in 2015 with my service animal, and I thought, I thought it was going to be a whole lot different. Not like in a good way, because I didn't know really like the laws and stuff. So
Mm,
I was very ignorant on that fact. I'll be honest about that. I just did not know. But I knew that I faced challenges here, but I didn't know. I thought it was going to be worse over there. But I go over there, and it's like the complete opposite.
okay.
Um, they have the equality. I love what they have over there, man. They call it the Equality Act, and
Hmm.
that's their version of the what we call the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Okay.
And I think that the Equality Act is more robust, more in depth. It gives more examples of what discrimination is and what the do's and the don'ts are, and it goes really specific in the detail. And I got better treatment over there than I got better treatment over there from when I was over there for um 6 weeks than when I get over here. Like people would ask questions. I didn't get refused. I took my dog in cabs. I went in stores. I went on buses. I went on planes. I took her in restaurants, grocery stores, you name it. We did it, and people were so willing to learn if they didn't know. But there was also a sense of understanding that once you said it was a guide dog, the issue got left alone. And even when I was traveling in the airport, there what we call the TSA agents here.
Hmm.
One of the agents, she asked her counterpart if what does she do with the dog, and the supervisor like, don't touch the driver. That's the driver. You don't touch the driver. And I was just I I didn't really know what to say because like the fact that they consider the dog a driver like that, like mad
Yeah, right,
respect.
right, right. Yep.
Yeah, I was like, bro, like okay, like I was like, wow, and then you just look at that experience and you look at the experience like here in the United States, and it's like, man, like we're supposed to be the best country, but we got so much work to do. Um, I was just answering some questions for a friend that I was with in elementary school, and I was just telling her like it's the it's just the lack of common sense. And I think that people make perceptions, and they make these perceptions, and they have uh, negative attitudes toward people with disabilities. And no one wants to use um, common sense, and no one wants to think outside the box, especially now with COVID. But anyway,
Wow. Now, we're still speaking of. I understand what you're saying. We're still talking about the traveling aspect. Now, what about traveling like in you said in Ubers and Lyfts and things like that over here versus over there?
mm-hmm,
If you had the opportunity or to travel uh, with your guide dog in those particular types of vehicles.
mm-hmm. Hold on, just
Okay, no
hold on,
problem.
just a second.
Okay,
Hold on.
we're speaking
Uh,
with Demetrius, and he's talking about his guide dog. And ready?
yeah, I'm ready. Sorry
Okay, go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
that. So as far as like man, like traveling with Ubers and the whole Ubers and the whole lifts, I've traveled a lot like that here. Um, when I was in Greece, I traveled obviously with a cab. Didn't have Uber and Lyft over there at the time in the actual island, but when I was over there, when I was over here, when I'm here, I travel primarily by Uber and Lyft, and um, it's always like you just cross your fingers kind of situation. Like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to get the refusal? Or am I not going to get the refusal? And at first, at one point, it was like I used to think, okay, maybe it's just like the Middle Easterners that just don't know. But then um, when you get refused so many times, you kind of it's not right to put a stereotype. So I'm like, man, this is not a one size fits all. This is not a one size group thing here. This is a multiple, whether it be um it wasn't just Middle Eastern folks. It was people from here, people from different parts of the world. Um, so it happens, right? And so when it does happen here, it doesn't matter why the reason why it happens, but it happens whether it be an American or someone that's from another country that's here. It doesn't matter, but it happens. And when it does happen, I would say it puts me at an inconvenience, And I was on the news about it. I was talking about it to Rob Masson on Fox 8. I was talking to him about like that when this stuff happens, it only puts me at a greater inconvenience because I already have to put in time just to get to the place, but
Hmm.
when the refusal happens, I have to add an extra 20 minutes or 30 minutes because when I get refused the first time, then I have to sit here and file a complaint, blah, 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 and then request somebody else and hope and pray that that person don't give me the same deal. So you have to incorporate more time because you got drivers that are just so ignorant and they don't want to use their common sense. Even though they know what they're supposed to do, they don't care about it because they think it's their car. And when you try to deal with it with Uber and Lyft, they say, "Oh, we re-educated the driver." Even though in some instances, when it's like they knowingly did it, they say that they're not going to do it, and you try to educate them, and they say no. Even though that's the case, um, they're supposed to terminate them, but they don't get terminated. They get re-educated, and you can't re-educate common sense. You know what I mean?
Hmm. So, in essence, I mean, you have a, as far as traveling with your guide, though, it's better. You have better opportunities, and people are more uh, uh, easy to accept it as opposed to over in the United States. People are more easy to
Mhm.
compel and follow the guidelines. Is that what we getting at right now?
Yeah, I think but I think here, Anthony, that I think here we have. I was just talking about this with somebody, to a friend of mine earlier this week. That here in the United States, we have a big, and I know I'm gonna probably strike a chord, but I don't mind striking chords because you gotta just keep it, you gotta just keep it 100% here.
Mm,
The big problem that we have is not the service dogs, but it's the emotional support animals is the bigger problem because, and I say that because when the emotional support animals don't have the same rights as somebody with a service animal. Now, the emotional support animal, they have right to housing accommodations,
mm,
apartments and sort of, but they don't have the same rights. Like they can't go in stores and things like
right,
that. So when someone brings in a dog, an emotional support animal, not emotional support animal, bites somebody or misbehaves or whatever, it looks bad on the legitimate
right,
service animal handlers, if that makes any sense.
right. It does. It does.
So where I'm going with this, I know I just kind of went on a tangent, but I gave you that piece of meat, that gravy because in Europe, there's no emotional. They don't categorize emotional support animals. They just don't categorize that. They just don't. When if you want to go travel to like the United Kingdom, I mean, you can bring your emotional support dog, but you're gonna have to pay for that. Now, if you bring your guide dog, I mean, and I say you have to pay for it. When you go, um, yeah, so like when you go to the United Kingdom, you have to pay if
Mhm.
you have an emotional support animal, but for your guide dog, then you don't have to pay. So here it's like no one wants to read the laws, no one wants to kind of.
Okay. We're speaking with Demetrius. Very good topic. Um, Talking about uh, how it is traveling with his guide dog and things of that nature. So definitely, man, we need to get up on these laws, man, and let people know that as a blind person, it is our right to actually travel with our guide dog and things of that nature. So I want to thank him for actually coming on and sharing his story. He had to go, y'all, but I want to thank uh, you back.
Yeah, I'm right here, man. Yeah,
Okay.
but I just think, man, it's just the lack of, like I was saying, it's just that piece, man, that we have to utilize what I call common sense here. Like, and I think emotional support animals shouldn't have that same like people shouldn't be trying to take advantage of the system, but I also think that Uber and Lyft, they need to be holding these drivers to the more accountability because Uber's going back to court because of all this stuff, man. Like, so because they put some agreements in the actual settlement, um, that if a driver spoke a different language, like if he spoke Spanish or Arabic or Italian or whatever, that they would translate those materials in that driver preferred language, and they haven't done that yet,
Hmm.
and they're not doing that, so they're not meeting their end of the deal,
Hmm.
and that's the problem because at the end of the day, uh, Anthony, the problem happens and the refusals keep happening, and this is not just a Louisiana problem. It's not a Georgia problem. It's not even a Texas issue. This is a nationwide problem
Right.
that it shouldn't be happening. How is it that other countries see if in other countries, if something like this happens, first of all, you go to court. They take that driver to court, and you can
Hmm.
lose your what they call your taxi license, and you have to pay a fine. So I think that we as blind people, we're a minority. We're a small group
Right.
compared to other groups, and I think that the legal system they have to look at these kind of things from a more bigger scope. And until they look at it from a bigger scope, the problems are going to still happen. And well, then our legal system drags out. There's appeals and things, but I think stuff like this, it just should not be um, happening the way that it is happening. That we need to take more seriousness when it comes down to people with disability, because other countries, I mean, like in the United Kingdom, if you want to apply for a passport, like a UK passport, there's an option if you want Braille on your passport.
Okay.
So it's just that, but and that's what I'm saying. Like accessibility has to be talked about. It has to be at the forefront of all conversations. And if it's not, then again, we get, we're just left in the dark. I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
everything make sense.
it definitely made sense. With what you said, and this is not the first time I've heard about people having problems traveling with their guide dogs and things of that nature. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I know you're busy and whatnot, so I want
Oh,
to.
I got plenty of time.
Okay, look, I understand that, but I want to. We're gonna come back again and talk more. But you have any last minute words you want to say in reference to this particular topic? Because I definitely hope that people do understand that, that as blind people, as I was saying earlier when you were off, that they have the right to travel with their dog wherever they feel necessary, wherever they want to go, as opposed to being discriminated, especially with these Uber drivers and other Lyft drivers and things like that. So with that being said, what do you?
My last words is we have to be one cohesive unit, and we have to continue to advocate for justice, for equal justice. We have to continue that because this is a very important thing. So somebody did say, "Oh well, boycott them," or don't use them. Well, that's kind of tough when they're the only two companies. It's either use them or use a cab where you have to pay like 30% more of the price. So even the fact that it does happen that we as blind people who use service animals in this case, we have to continue to advocate and hold these drivers and companies accountable, because if we're not going to do it, then the stuff is still going to continue to happen, and that's just real talk. Like, and I know it takes a lot of time, and the emotional piece is there. Trust me, whenever it happens to me, you have to relive the story, and there's tears and there's frustration because, like, why is it me? Because all I'm trying to do is get to the stove. All I'm trying to do is get to where I need to be. But at the end of the day, like, you have to kind of like somehow separate that. You have to kind of separate, but like you separate it, but you advocate too. So you got to put the real energy into advocating for change, and not put it into the thing of kind of feeling like really mad about it. Because if you're mad about it, ain't nothing gonna happen. But you got to use that to a whole positive thing. If that makes sense.
Definitely.
So continue advocating. That's all I'm gonna say. Because this thing ain't gonna stop until we have some constructive um, reform. Just like what's going on with George Floyd. I'm for the peaceful protesting. And we gotta be able to speak our minds, and if we don't speak our mind, then so reform ain't gonna happen, and that's just real talk. So I want to thank you,
No problem.
Anthony, for putting me on on the show. It's been really a pleasure just talking with you on these
No problem. No problem.
issues, man. You keep up the good work that you're doing. I really like what you're doing, man. I wish more people would do what you do.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I want to definitely touch on this subject in regards to traveling with my guide dog in other countries, and to show the different regulations and just the way they view your service dog,
Yeah.
as opposed to in some parts or some people in the United States. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
come on and clear that up. So with that being said, I'm gonna play the outro. Just hold tight, and we're gonna talk after this. Hold on. Thank you all for checking out the show, Third Eye Visions, and I'll be back hopefully tomorrow with another topic.